servant as my son was abducted and disappeared, and I was not sure whether he was alive or dead, making us anxious and leaving me and my wife and the rest of the family in turmoil. It must be remembered that at that time, I was the serving Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, and as is well known, a member of the National Security Council as comprised under Article 240 of the Constitution.
Yes, few days back, the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Justin Bidan MUTURI, came out to castigate William Ruto's government against abducting Kenyans, including his son. This came as a shocker to very many Kenyans because the CS for Public Service sits in Cabinet. It means that there is a forum where he can air out his concern. So if he came out in the media to castigate abductions, it shows that there are loopholes in the Kenya Kwanza regime. And to be specific, these comments came from the gentleman of the gentleman of politics, Justin Bidan MUTURI. He's not always combative, he's not controversial. But so by coming out to castigate the Kenya Kwanza government, it points out to the ineptness of William Ruto in running the country. Some people are coming out to say that he's doing this so that he can exit the Kenya Kwanza regime because it's failing and he wants to be the governor of Embu. So in this episode, I've come to talk about the comments of Justin Bidan MUTURI, what it means for our politics, and most importantly, the study materials we can learn from the politics of our nation. But before I do this, I want to let you know that if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. If geopolitics and economics is what you want, this will be definitely the right channel for you to subscribe to. First of all, Justin Bidan MUTURI came out to castigate William Ruto against abducting Kenyans, most especially his son. We all know that William Ruto embarked on the abduction spree when people started criticizing his government. What pains me more is that William Ruto ran on the ticket of fighting against abductions and is even doing it more worse than the previous regimes. Okay? That pains me more. And I think the reason there's a book I read and it said that many people react the same when are put under pressure. It's only the constitution to streamline them. Whenever Ruto's regime is put under pressure, it results in abductions. Yet a nation like Kenya, it has grown to this extent. In fact, I keep on telling people that Kenya is the biggest democracy in East Africa because people know politics, because people normally fight for their human rights. And it would have been a matter of less concern if it had come out from a person who is less controversial. For example, if Moses Kuria was the one who said this, maybe he wouldn't have given it too much water because it's always controversial. But coming from a gentleman of politics like Bidan MUTURI, it points to very much what is going on in the Kenya Kwanza government. Okay? Before I expound on this more, I want to play a tape when Justin Bidan MUTURI was complaining against abductions. And I want you to listen very carefully because it's going to form a basis of our discussion to also show you the reason I believe he made these statements. Here's the tape.
One of the things we had accused the past regimes of was the existence of disappearances and extrajudicial killings of Kenyans. And we vowed that we would never, at our watch, condone or allow such. We stated this time and time again in the lead up to the last general election. Today, there has been a number of abductions and in some cases unexplained deaths since the Gen Z revolts of June last year. And it is unfortunate as most of the people being abducted and or killed are our youth. I have personally served as my son was abducted and disappeared. and I was not sure whether he was alive or dead, making us anxious and leaving me and my wife and the rest of the family in turmoil. It must be remembered that at that time, I was the serving Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, and as is well known, a member of the National Security Council as comprised under Article 240 of the Constitution. Despite making several requests, I was unable to trace my son, and I made demands to all the levels of the security apparatus of the country. Now, more than 6 months later, after that ordeal and the release of my son by unknown forces, he has not been charged with any offense, and the government at all levels has not been able to give me any explanation or reasons as to his abduction by hooded armed gangsters. The security sector has said that they are not involved in the abductions, but interestingly, they have failed to stop them as they are happening in full public glare. The president has equally said that he would want to see the abductions end. Kenyans want to know how many of our youths have been taken in since the abduction started, how many have been released, how many are still being held, and where it is that they are being held. On Friday last week, to wit the 3rd of January, at a funeral in Embu, I stated categorically that it was not possible for the government to say that it did not know anything about the abductions, because that amounts to shunning its responsibility on accountability.
That is Justin Bidan Muturi. One, Justin Bidan Muturi is among the very many people in cabinet who are old enough. Is among the very many people in cabinet who have served in very key positions as a Speaker of Parliament. In fact, in that cabinet, I take him as a gentleman in the Kenyan politics. He's a voice of reason. That's the truth. For him to come out to castigate the Kenya Kwanza government, at the extension is castigating William Ruto. Okay? Remember, when you are serving in cabinet, you take an oath of defending government, not even criticizing. You have to defend government priorities. To an extent that even if you don't, you're not in agreement with any policy, you air to your views in the cabinet. So we must ask ourselves, why is Bidan Muturi coming out to air his grievances in the public during a press conference? One, it's very possible maybe that Bidan Muturi is airing out his grievances because he wants to exit the Kenya Kwanza government. That's the truth. Okay? Because he has security. Any person who served as a Speaker of Parliament is paid, I think, 70% of the salary of the sitting Speaker. It means that he has a backup position. Second, he has served in very many key positions. He's not a poor person. So, and remember, countries are built on people who can sacrifice. Kenya is here because people sacrificed. We all know that 2007 resulted in 2013 constitution, devolution. Every time Kenya has wanted to achieve something, it has sacrificed. For people to fight the finance bill, they had to die on the streets because of a leader who does not listen. So Kenyans has had a chance of having such leaders who can come out to speak truth to power. And if a person like Justin Bidan Muturi comes out to speak as a voice of reason, and very many people are coming out to say that they will impeach him, I don't think that William Ruto already has a burden in a mountain. It cannot be possible that a person like Justin Bidan Muturi from Embu, remember William Ruto wants to pick Mountain Kenya East, at least to break away from the larger mountain. And Justin Bidan Muturi comes from the Kenya East, that is Embu. I don't think he will be impeached or he will be chased away as he wants to be. Second, there are rumors that Justin Bidan Muturi also wants to be a governor of Embu. Truth be told, being a CS, you'd rather be a governor. Because being a governor, you have a security for your job. You run a county with over billions. You call the shots, you appoint people. Being a CS, you work on the mercy of the appointing authority. A president can wake up after 1 week of you serving and he chases you away. So I think he's cleaning himself so that he can run for the governor of Embu. Remember, is reading this, citing that if he remains working with William Ruto and he decides to exit maybe nearing an election 2026 or thereabout, it will be very hard for him to reach the gubernatorial seat of Embu. So wise as he is trying to steer things in cabinet, in the Kenya Kwanza government, so that even if he exits nearing an election to run for the governorship of Embu, he may be voted for on the account that he opposed William Ruto once. Remember, the mountain moved on. The mountain cannot vote for William Ruto. That's the truth. Because Kenyan politics is so tribal. I don't see the mountain voting for William Ruto when Rigathi Gachagua is on the ballot, or when Rigathi Gachagua is endorsing someone else. And I think I'm also sure that it was suicidal for William Ruto to impeach Rigathi Gachagua. He thought that he's a Mathira MP who cannot galvanize the people of the mountain. So I clearly see that the comments which were made by MUTURI, because first of all, ask yourself, why is it now? The son of Bill and MUTURI was abducted last year, I think. Now, after almost 6 months or 7 months thereabout, he's coming out to talk about the abduction. If indeed it is true, he would have said it then. Why is it saying it now? Because seeing things are not going on in the Kenya Kwanza government, and he's finding a way so that he can be made a victim by chasing him out of cabinet, so that he can run for the gubernatorial race of Embu. Of course, that's my opinion. Do make comments by commenting about this. Thank you very much for listening in. If this is your first time on this YouTube channel, employee would subscribe, like, and comment so they can be motivated to do more of such videos. I'll see you on another one. Peace.